Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and look for future videos. They're coming out every single week. Today we are making Italian buttercream. This stuff is awesome because it is so much smoother and not nearly as sweet as the traditional American buttercream that you get here in the States. A normal batch would be 4 egg whites, but I always make a lot of it, so I do a double batch each time. So today we're gonna crack 8 eggs. Now, I have watched other videos, especially when I was first starting to do this, and they're saying, oh, you have to be oh so careful about having your bowl incredibly clean and make sure there's no fat in there, and you need to wipe it down with vinegar or lemon juice, and you need to cross your fingers and stand on one toe and pray. But really, just make sure your bowl's clean and you'll be fine. Once you're done cracking those eggs, what you're going to want to do is separate the yolks from the eggs. I actually use the yolks for another recipe, so it works out great. But the egg whites and the egg yolk need to stay separate. You don't want to have any egg yolk in your whites, or it could prevent it from rising up. I have to confess, I have had a little bit show up in my egg white before, and it didn't seem to make a difference, but still try to be as careful as you possibly can. There's a lot of techniques that people use in order to separate the egg whites. I personally have found that it's easiest just to use my hands. I'm actually going to be doing a video on how to separate egg yolks from whites using your hands, so look out for that video soon. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pan and add 2 cups of sugar to it. I use a medium-sized pan. In addition, we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of sugar to a measuring cup and set it aside. Once you have your sugar in the pan, you're going to add 2/3 cup of water and put that over approximately medium heat, and you're going to want to bring it to a boil. While your sugar and water are heating up, you're going to go ahead and add your dry ingredients to your mixing bowl. You will add 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I use Diamond Crystal kosher salt because it is the gold standard in cooking and baking. So after you've added those ingredients, what you're going to add is your egg whites. In this case, I have 8 egg whites, again, because I say I'm making a double batch. After you've added your salt, cream of tartar, and egg whites to the bowl, you're going to set your mixer to low and then sort of bring it up to speed to about medium to high and let it beat a little bit. Once the egg whites start to look a little foamy, I've heard it described before as sort of like a bubble bath, you're going to start adding your sugar. Add a little bit, and let it mix a little bit, add a little bit more, let it mix a little bit, and then add the last. I usually do it in about 3 batches, but again, it's one of those subjective things. You can do it in 2 batches and you'll be fine, or just one continual stream and you would be fine as well. I usually tend to just do it in 3 little batches. Once you've added the last of your sugar, bring it up to high and let it beat until it's a thicker foam. And then at that point you're gonna turn it off until your sugar has finished heating up. Some people try to time it so that the sugar heats up to the exact same time that your eggs are finished with that first mixing with the sugar. I'm not that good. I just turn it off and let it sit until the sugar heats up. At this point it's a little bit of a waiting game. You're gonna let the sugar heat to 235 degrees. It starts to look clear and it's really bubbly when it's getting to that 235 degree temperature, which is softball stage. And a little aside, this mixer actually belonged to my grandmother. I think it's about as old as I am. After your sugar mixture has reached that 235 degree temperature, you're going to want to turn on the mixer. Because I've let it sit for a couple of minutes, I usually whip it up to high, let it go for a couple of seconds, and then drop it back down to low. You want to make sure that it's at low when you add your hot boiling sugar mixture, because you don't want that to fling out on your skin. That would be very painful. So turn it back down to low and slowly drizzle in the sugar water. After you've got the last of it in there, you're going to increase the power up to 10 and let it ride. It's going to take probably 10 or so minutes. And every once in a while you're just going to want to feel the side of the bowl. And once it gets so it's not quite so scathing hot, you know, around room temperature, honestly, I'm not patient enough to wait for it to get fully down to room temperature. That's when you're going to start adding your butter. You need 2 full pounds of butter for this. Yes, I know, it's a lot of butter. Once it's reached the point of being around room temperature, you're going to start adding your butter. About a tablespoon at a time. I usually just take a hunk off, toss it in with my fingers. I'm using the gloves so there's no contamination issues. And then you're going to want to count to about 6. So it has a little time to mix in. So I literally just sit there going 1,000, 2, 1,000, etc. until I get to 6, and then I add the next pat of butter. You're going to keep doing that until you get to the last of the butter. Yes, it is 2 full pounds. Once you've added a few pats of butter, the whole mix will probably drop down. That's okay. You don't need to worry, don't need to panic. It will go down. And then as you add the butter, it will continue to inflate again. And then at one point, once you've added in most of the butter, about 3/4 of it, so you're down to your about last 1/4 pound or so of butter, you're going to see where it looks kind of like it's split, which means that the butter and the egg whites have split apart, and that it just looks kind of, to me, honestly, it looks a little bit like cottage cheese. But don't panic again. Just keep adding that last bit of butter and let it beat a while, and it'll come back together, and it will be this nice, creamy, smooth, amazing buttercream. After you've added the last of that butter and you're ready to finish it off, just turn off the machine and add your vanilla. I actually use a mixture of 2 different vanillas. Both are pure vanilla extract. One has a bourbon accent to it. It's a Madagascar bourbon vanilla, and the other is just simple plain pure vanilla extract. I add 2 tablespoons of the plain and 1 tablespoon of the Madagascar bourbon. I've done a lot of experiments with different levels of vanilla and different types, and this seems to have the best flavor and everybody likes it the most. After you've added in your vanilla, what I do is I put my spatula down on the side because the slickness of the vanilla means that the buttercream is just going to dance around in that bowl for a little while. This helps to prevent it from coming out of the bowl as well as prevent the vanilla from coming out of the bowl. So you'll turn it on, slowly bring it up to speed, and mix it for a little while until all of that vanilla has had a chance to mix in. Because of the nature of the machine, there are little pockets of meringue that are left in the bowl, as well as areas which have not mixed as well with the vanilla, so I will go ahead and give it one last beat and mix up with my spatula. And there you go, you have a batch of vanilla Italian buttercream. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and look for future videos. Have a great day.